Hello and welcome to the Always Sunday Football Podcast. I'm Dave. I'm joined as I am every week by Anthony. What up, champ?
What's up, fam? What's up, champ?
Hey, champ.
What's up, champ? Look at us. Look at us. Hey,
Look at us,
look at us.
champions. It's champions
Look at
only today. Welcome to the Champions Club. I'm your host, Dave, joined by Anthony. Danny couldn't make it. John got his wires crossed, texted us that he could make it when in fact he couldn't. He meant he couldn't make it. So that's the exact opposite of what he meant. Nevertheless, here we are. We're talking some football. We figured we'd kind of catch up a little bit. We did a show post-season where we did announce the champions and the second places and all that other good stuff. Anthony wasn't with us at that time. We did congratulate you. We gave you a round of applause, but here it is again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did watch the show because I needed to know what was said.
Fair enough. Yeah, and so right now where we stand is that we are 1 week away, roughly, 2 weeks away, roughly, from the Super Bowl. We have a week of just nonsense and every sort of angle of every story being written and somebody getting in a car accident or going, doing something stupid before the Super Bowl. Like all that stuff is still yet to happen. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but I wanted to touch on a couple of the other teams that were in the playoffs too before we do that. We have some coaching changes that we need to discuss, and we have some numbers, and I can't wait. So I want to open the show. Normally we do the numbers at the end of the show. So Anthony, we didn't get the numbers for the season finale numbers. So break it down for us. How did everybody finish and all of our different picks and stuff?
I know. We've been waiting. So I have the golden ticket here. Okay. So it has everything from 3-pick parlay to our anytime touchdowns to DFS to our weekly picks. And there's a little discrepancies in between of details for each. But anyway, 3-pick parlay, obviously hardest one to get something up consistently of high dig.
Yeah.
So for 3-pick parlays, which I got everything on this paper is week 1 through 16 for the most part. So through 16 weeks, Danny and myself.
Yeah.
One.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going top to bottom, but now I know. Go ahead.
No, you like that. You like that one. I, for my self-defense on the record, I do a lot of money line madness. All right. Anyway, John, 3.
Whew, that's a great season. 3 parlays correct in a season. That's good. 3 out of 16.
Dave, 4.
Oh, wow.
Now, what helped?
Even better than 3.
What helped? I think no, it doesn't necessarily what helped, but we did that double Thanksgiving, and I think you and him each caught one that day, or it might have just been you that day on the extra that helped out. So that's 3-pick parlays.
So 25% of the time, 4 out of 16 times I hit my parlay. That's incredible. Considering last year, I think we probably hit 2 or 3 total between all 4 of us.
Yeah, it was
right or wrong, right? So that's an incredible. Listen, between the 4 of us this year, we got 4, 5, 9 right. That's pretty good. It's a much better improvement. And for John to get 3 of them in a season, and for me to get 4.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Really good.
There's technically we had the follower. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Aiden is Aedan.
Oh, that's right.
And he made a 3-pick parlay and an anytime TD. Missed the anytime TD, but actually got the 3-pick parlay right. So he also got one. He came in with a one-time entry and tied me and Danny.
Yeah, percentage-wise, he's the best of all of us.
He's 100%.
He can tell us. He can teach us a thing or two.
Right. All right. So for anytime touchdowns, we started this week 2 because we talked about doing it in week 1, and this is week 2 through 16. So we have Dave, John, myself, tied.
Oh.
Guess what number?
Say that again.
So this is like you had 16 opportunities, technically one every week with a double one on Thanksgiving.
Three.
We all tied with this.
Three.
No.
Four.
No.
I don't know.
7.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Danny Mac, 9.
Wow.
Yeah. Yo, we were crazy. I looked at the Thanksgiving Day, highlighted up, son, all over the place in the fucking in the touchdown day. Yeah, we had it that day.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get better at that and start hitting them. Now, do you have on your list there how many times we all hit it in the same week?
Once or twice. It was not more than twice.
We got to know that. We have to know that. I mean, you don't have
I
to
got
go
the
back.
book right here.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to go back and look now, but in the future, that's got to be a total that we hear at the end of the season as well. How many times did we round robined it?
I know for sure it was 1.
We definitely did one, but I'm not sure if we
Right.
did 1 or 2. But again, it's not that big a deal because we're just going to do better next year and it'll be a bigger number.
Right, but the numbers we have for ourselves are very good, I think.
Individually, yes, but the point is a 4-pick anytime touchdown that hits a parlay. That's the object of the game. It's not just to hit.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? It's not to
Agreed.
hit individually. It's nice to hit individually, and I'm glad we have that record. But the point of the game is to hit the 4.
Fair. You're right. Hey, when
Because
you
we want
right,
that.
fam,
Yo, we like big pluses, baby, and we cannot lie.
who you talking to? All right, DFS. So now,
I think I won this.
I don't know.
Well, let's find out.
So I came into today without week 17 and a question mark on 14 and 16, and John wins week 17. So
Yep.
that puts John at 3.
Wow.
Okay. So now week 14, it was me. So I added that to my original count, and that put me at 4.
Okay.
Week 16, still in question mark. We know it's not you or I.
Correct.
And Danny has 4. So it could be Danny, which pushes him to 5, or it could be John that pushes him to 4, and there's a 3-way tie at 4. Or it pushes Danny to 5, and it's a 2-way tie with him because you have 5.
Got it. All right, we'll figure it out.
But yet again,
I came in first. At the very least, I'm tied for first, so that's still good.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
we've all had.
Nobody.
I didn't. I didn't play week 17. There's throughout play somebody always misses one, but
I think I'm the only person who played every single week. Maybe John did too. Maybe. Actually, I would say John probably did every week, but maybe he missed one. I know I'm positive I'm the only person who played every single week.
Well,
maybe not. John could have done it, but I don't know. I feel like he missed at least one.
But yeah, I mean, like yet again, our numbers and stats pretty good.
Yes.
All right, so this is what we've been waiting for. Actually, we're kind of waiting for all of it, but this is the bigger number in a sense. So I have week 1 through 16. There's no week 17 in these numbies.
Or 18.
Or 18, because I figured we have chose 18 given the fact how it's poopy doopy it is.
We wouldn't have bet it week 18. They wouldn't have included him in. We wouldn't have included him in the numbers.
Right. Because it's fraud.
Yeah.
So 16, solid chunk.
Yep.
You know. So we're gonna do Danny first because Danny missed week 1. Right. So Danny has.
I'm sure he missed more than just 1 week.
In the pit, no.
No. Oh, okay.
We all were here for 16 weeks except him. He wasn't here week 15.
All right.
So for 15 weeks for Danny, and taking out all the pushes or whatever, 443 was the possibilities for him. He got 225 for a 50.8%.
That's pretty good. 50.8. That's
50.8.
It's better than half. Just barely.
Yes. Now on to you, me, and John. We had 474 possible chances.
Okay.
John, 241, 50.8.
Same as Danny.
Same as one of them was a 50.8, one of them was a 50.79. So I basically just both eights,
Okay.
50.8.
I'll allow it.
Now for the drum roll on who's gonna be. Um, in second place, me. For 244
244.
for a 51.4%.
Nice.
Dave, 249.
Ooh, I wanted to hit the 250 number. Go
No,
ahead.
but you got 52.5%.
That's pretty good. I'll take it. 52 and a half.
I'll take, honestly, all of us being 50% at least is pretty good.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's
No, but like, you know what I mean? I think that's because it could be one person just not bad. We're all, pretty at getting it.
we're mid. We're all mid. We're just, you know, they make the spreads so that it's like so that you basically end up at 50%, or if you're lucky. So we're
Well,
there. We need to get better.
week, where was it? I have it literally written each down. I forget. Where are you? Dave is the first one. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Week 6 was your week, fam.
I hit, what was it,
Yeah.
23 out of 28?
Yeah.
That's a good week. And then I had another good week later in the season too. I had another
You had a
really
22 out of 30.
okay. Yep.
John's last week 16 were kind of brought him out because week 16 was lighter on the side for you and me. Danny put a 20 and John got 24 out of 32 week 16.
So that's the biggest
So
number,
he actually
24.
got the most numbered right in a
Yeah.
week, but you had the bigger percentage because he got 24 out of 32, you got 23 out of 28.
Yeah.
Which is like insane. 22 out of 30 is good. I had
Yeah.
a 20 out of 32. Danny had a 20 out of 32. I was in 20 just once. Danny just once. John took him to week 16 to get to 20, and you
Yeah,
hit it twice.
did it with authority.
You hit it twice, and you had a 19 as well. So,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? We all had a 19 at least once. But, like, yeah, I think, yet again, I'm going to have this sheet saved so that after I do next year's, we could see that
See if we made any progress.
this was the 2024 for Always Sunday football season,
Nice.
old school style on paper, and we're gonna save that, and then after 2025, see if we got better.
Yeah, hopefully we do. Hopefully we do. So there we go. Those are some pretty good numbers. I was impressed with us, but I know that there's still plenty of room for improvement. So hopefully, I think the idea is to try to get above 60%. That's the move. If we're above 60%, is it better? Now we're talking. Now we're talking. It's a lot
Yeah,
of room.
because nobody wants to be a coin flip. I mean, if you're in a
Right.
casino, 50% is one of the best you're gonna get. But in sports betting, yeah, you would like a little bit better than that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
agree. I agree.
we have a number to strive for. The number is 60 for next season. The target number. I mean, it shouldn't be that high because it's incredible. It would be impossible to go from 50% to 60% in 1 year, but you got to set the bar somewhere. That's the
Hey, you
ultimate
heard
goal.
it. You heard it here.
That's the ultimate goal. Once we get to 60, we can say that we've arrived and we're good bettors. Not until then. So
Not
let's
until then,
talk.
well,
Let's talk playoffs. Let's talk NFL playoffs. All right. We haven't gotten a
Playoffs?
chance. You haven't gotten a chance to really discuss any of the games, any of the teams, any of the outcomes, or anything like that. So I figure the quickest and easiest way we can go through this is to just talk team by team, starting with the teams that got eliminated first and moving right through and finishing up with the Super Bowl teams. Sound good?
yes, sir.
The Chargers. The Chargers lost in Wild Card Weekend. Justin Herbert, young talent. The offensive and defensive lines seem to be built pretty well. Harbaugh did a good job there, turned the team around, got them into the playoffs in his very first year.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, they didn't have enough talent to win in the playoffs. They were just like they were there, which is great. They made it, which is great. But I still think they're a year or two away from really being like seriously competitive. They need to add talent. They only had Lad McConkey. They didn't really have much else. They need running backs. They need receivers. They need a tight end. They need some skill position players to help out. But they have a really strong foundation there, and I think they got a bright future. Any takeaways on the Chargers? I know they're your boys.
No, I mean, yeah, like come in first year, a new head coach, great head coach. You love that. Good quarterback. Ladidi looks to be pretty legit.
Yeah,
They
he's not.
got some
He's
what?
not. He's not a number one though.
No, but if you have a Herbert that makes you look good, helps you out there.
Yeah, no, he can be productive no matter what, but you got to give
No,
him
they're
something
gonna, but
else.
that's the thing is like they're gonna make do with the running backs on the cheap multiple situation. I think committee and they have some big contracts to deal with on some old guys. You got a Khalil Mack there, so they'll have to make some decisions. But I think like they're a playoff team every year minus injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Steelers though. Steelers were an ugly playoff team. They're just kind of like taking up a playoff spot that could be going to be used by a more fun team. Um,
Agreed.
Nobody knows really who
Like
their
the Bengals.
yeah, nobody knows who their quarterback's going to be next year. It's probably not going to be Russ. I don't think it would be Justin Fields, but I guess if anybody, he's probably the more likely of the options, at least right now that we know of, unless
What do
somebody
you
else.
think? What do you think is more likely? They run it back with both of them or none of them?
None of them. Not even close. None of them. Because I know Russ is definitely not going to be back. 100% Russ is out. They've already said as much. I mean, not explicitly, but it's been like rumored about that Russ is done. So I would say none of them versus both of them.
I think honestly, there's a lot of QB need and a
Oh yeah,
lot of guys like a lot of need for QB and throughout the league,
yeah,
and a lot. I guess I should like I don't want to. We're talking about this team coming up, but a lot's going to be predicted on what happens with Darnold.
yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. The Broncos, they lost also. They have a good young core of players. I mean, you got Bo Nix, who looks like he's going to be legit. They got some good players on defense. Sean Payton
Defense
has,
legit.
yeah. Sean Payton has not lost a step. I think that they could use some running back help, some receiver help for sure, like some skill position help.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is a free agent this year. They'll address that position. They'll
You got to get
they
him
need
another receiver.
they'll get him another receiver. They've got a handful of but they'll get that there because the
Yeah,
defense is solid.
yeah,
Sertan, my man.
yeah. He's the best corner in the league. There's no doubt about it. I'm excited to see what they do in the draft and in free agency. Though this is a team that I'll have my eye on, especially as far as
This is a
dynasty.
team I'm targeting, thinking that like there's a spot for Higgins.
There's going to be a lot of spots for Higgins. I'll tell you what. But this would be a decent one. This would be a decent one. It wouldn't that I wouldn't hate that. I don't think as a T Higgins dynasty owner. I do think T Higgins just ends up back in Cincinnati though. Green Bay. Green Bay Packers, another team that's going to be interesting to watch as far as dynasty is concerned. Jordan Love didn't look great. The team, you know, the team,
Big drop off, in my opinion.
yeah. The team basically revolves around Josh Jacobs. None of the receivers really stepped up where you thought somebody would. They're all just mid. Devontae Adams been rumored to go back to Green Bay, so they actually have a number one receiver, which I think would be pretty interesting, honestly. Any Packers takeaways except from the fact that we're both pretty disappointed in Jordan Love's performance this year?
Yeah, I'm actually disappointed in like the whole team.
Except
They're a
for
good
Josh
young
Jacobs.
team. They're a good young team. Yeah, once they took Jacobs, like he was a sleeper guy I was trying to get in every league because the workload was there. You like a lot of people if they didn't watch the game and like look into the deep depth of the numbers, they're just like, he's putting up just like mid numbers, because he wasn't getting touchdowns, but the workload was there for him. The yards were there. They were just he was beasting and then got the touchdowns in the back end. But all the receivers, it was pretty upsetting. like you had Reed in the beginning of the year, you were hyped, and then you were just depressed after like week 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I can say that
And
with
then it was like
Sanders.
it was basically like, and it's sad to say, but it's like it was like the Chiefs in a sense. Like for the most part, all year you were not comfortable starting any Chief receiver until Hopkins maybe came along, but
I think Hopkins had one usable game. One.
No, Reed as well. So like the Green, and those are two teams that should absolutely be like, yo, I got one of the fucking receivers from them plugged every week auto start, and it wasn't. So that's pretty depressing.
Agreed. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm pretty surprised that they lost, but of course Washington went on a great run, so you can't take anything away.
Yeah, Baker.
Baker had a great season. Mike Evans had a really good season. They're both back for next year.
Can he do it again?
The thing that concerns me the most is now the Liam Cohen departure, and that Baker's going to have yet another offensive coordinator. So it's that's the one thing. I mean, I'm a Baker owner. I'm a Mike Evans owner in Dynasty. The thing that I'm most concerned with is who they bring in there to run that offense, and can they continue? Can Baker stay as good as he's been? You know what I mean? He's had 2 really good seasons now. He had a great season. He found they need him. They need him to the Pro Bowl.
I mean, like he was a first round pick. You know, the talent is there. You know, it had some time to develop. You know, he's got his IQ higher. You know, learning a bunch of shit. I think that if to ask for a repeat is hard because he did have a really good year.
Oh yeah, he threw 40 touchdowns.
Right. So like, but you're gonna expect a drop off. Just how much of one is what it is. But I think I think he'd be okay unless just like Arthur Smith goes there.
Right, which that's not going to happen. So hopefully, I mean, he's had 2 really good offensive coordinators. Todd Bowles, for his foibles as a head coach, he's been so far picked 2 really good coordinators. Hopefully, he does it again. You mentioned the Minnesota Vikings. You mentioned the Vikings and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had the 2 worst games of his season in the 2 worst possible spots, the Buffalo game and then the playoffs. I mean, he went from multi-million, $100 million.
He lost $10 million a year.
No, he lost $50 million a year. He lost $50 million a year because he was going from a 3-year extension to now he might get franchised if he's lucky. He'll get franchised and he'll make whatever he makes for 1 year. But nobody's going to sign him long term. Even if he gets released by goes to free agency, he'll be the number 1 free agent quarterback and he'll get signed by somebody, but it's not going to be for what he would have made if he had played well. If he, the fantasy footballers, Jason Moore made a statement that I agree with. If Sam Darnold had broken his wrist in week 16 and didn't play in week 17 or week 18, whatever, and didn't play in the playoffs, he would be better off than he is now. If he had gotten injured and didn't play, he would be better off because he made such a mess of himself and just he erased everything he did the entire season in those last 2 games. So I don't see him getting a long-term deal with anybody. I think the Vikings probably just franchise him. And if they don't franchise him, that's a sign that JJ McCarthy is going to be healthy. And I don't know what happens to Sam Darnold, man. I was feeling so good for that guy, and now I feel terrible for him. He totally.
He'll be, no matter what, he'll be I think he'll be the best thing for him is to get a contract somewhere else. Because if they don't, you know what I mean? Because they're going to it's ultimately McCarthy, right?
It's ultimately right.
Is to get him out there.
I think
they ideally you would want to be able to have Darnold if Darnold ends up being the better quarterback or whatever the case may be. But you're not going to do all that. No, they're not going to tie up $40 million though. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't know.
He can get a 2 to 3 year deal somewhere else.
I think he would. He could for sure. I mean, we just talked about it. The Steelers. Who's the Steelers quarterback?
That's what I mean. That's a team that is going to have some money coming loose, and even like Tennessee, they have the first round pick. They could be like, you know what, I can get Darnold, and then have a generational talent in Travis Hunter or the edge, or trade the pick back for a haul. I
think they should trade back. Yeah. Yeah, the Vikings situation, it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of it has to do with how JJ McCarthy's recovery is going and whether the Vikings feel like they can just go with him.
Nah, bro, they got Daniel Jones.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. They do have Daniel Jones, so they could let Sam Darnold go if they feel like McCarthy's going to be back sooner rather than later. Just let Daniel Jones start a few games at the beginning of the season and then get the fuck out of the way. Texans. Houston Texans made it to the second round of the playoffs. Congratulations, Houston Texans. And then they fired their offensive coordinator. I think rightfully so. He was mid. CJ Stroud, good, maybe not great. He certainly regressed from his rookie season.
Well, that's I think the play calling because it was a Joe Mixon season
for part of the season, but then even in the back half of the season, he didn't play well.
Right, it fell off. They got hit with some injuries, man. Like every receiver, like they've lost all their receivers at one point in the year.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but every team gets injuries.
Yeah, but like your
But you're right. The
top
play calling, what you said,
like Nico was down, and then it was Dell, and then it was Dell and Diggs, and Diggs was down, and then Nico came back, and then Dell went down, and they might have been some more overlap there.
Right. Yeah, it was ugly. They're a team who I can see vying for the playoffs next year, but depending on who they bring in at offensive coordinator, and they need to, get some more pieces on that team.
A lot of this offseason should be pretty interesting.
That offensive line got manhandled against the Chiefs. Like they didn't even belong there. So they got to figure something out. They got to be able to protect. They could not protect CJ Stroud. The Lions, the shocking Lions, lost to the Commanders in an awesome game. They were my pick to win the Super Bowl. I had my future on the Lions. Both my futures died in the same weekend. It was sad. The Lions, great team, but they lose both their coordinators. Ben Johnson gone. Aaron Glenn gone. What's your take? Like, where do you stand? I think that's going to be one of the biggest questions going into next year. Is like we know that they have such awesome fantasy weapons. Jameson Williams took a step forward this year. They have the running backs. They have, where do you stand on like how excited you are 1 to 10 on the Lions offense and fantasy next year with no Ben Johnson?
I'm a little, look, he's great, you know what I mean? But like, I'm still an 11 because I have Gibbs in both dynasties. And he's a freak. The fact that him and like how everybody could just eat most of the time.
You don't worry that that's going to change with Johnson gone?
No, because like I feel you're gonna use like Gibbs is still gonna get his work enough to me not be too concerned. Like I'll still get some value and worth for what he's at. Like if he's not rushing enough, or it's a straight like less split, like he's mainly the pass catching back, doesn't get a lot of touches. He'll still get me in the teens. The guys, you know what I mean, but. The extension of Montgomery did like upset me a little, but nah, I'm okay. I mean, again, same like we've been saying for everybody. I will be worried, waiting to see who actually goes in there, but not too concerned.
I think that Jared Goff is going to be a major point of conversation in the offseason. Like, does Goff finally turn back into a pumpkin? Like, people have always questioned Goff. Like, is he really that good? Is he really that good? That question is going to be super loud this offseason.
You're gonna get the answer. I think he's good.
We'll find out. I'm interested
But
to see.
We always can see what how much coaching does get involved with what you come out with. So
I think it's pretty clear coaching matters quite a bit. The Darnold situation, going, spending a year with Kyle Shanahan and then going with Kevin O'Connell, Baker Mayfield playing with Canales and then playing with Liam Cohen. Or he went to Sean McVay for 1 year or part of a year.
Sometimes the multiples is even better. Like seeing multiple things, that's great.
But as long as you're getting good coaching, and some guys are and some guys aren't. The Rams, speaking of Sean McVay, unfortunately, that was my other futures team. They lost. They got farther than I think probably a lot of people expected them to.
Agreed.
And you got huge questions. Cooper Kupp looks pretty done, and I think he's a free agent this year, or he might get cut. I'm not sure what the deal is, but he doesn't. I don't think he's expected back.
No, he's not. He's not a free agent. I can tell you that. I know that.
Okay. Yeah, there's
he's actually like still pretty expensive for next year.
There's certainly question of whether he gets cut or if he's back with the team. There's also
it's like $20 million if they cut him.
There's also a big question of whether Matt Stafford is going to be back with the team. If Stafford leaves that team, it's fucking over. It's over, right? Like I got Kyron Williams as my keeper. If Stafford retires this season, it is over for Kyron Williams, and I love that guy. It's over for everybody. Puka Nacua, over. It doesn't matter. If Stafford retires, it's over. If Stafford retires, McVay might fucking retire. Just say, all
Like,
right,
yeah, this is good. I'm gonna go enjoy my young life.
yeah. And the thing is, he's got a great young defense. Like that defense is going to be great for a long
Oh my
time.
god, yeah.
They only need a few pieces and they're back on top, but Stafford brings so much to the table that, man, so that's going to be something that I look very closely at in the offseason. Ravens lost, unfortunate. Lamar Jackson did everything
Yeah.
he did everything he needed to do. He did fumble, which was bad. And then Mark Andrews had the fumble and then he dropped the 2-point conversion. That drop should never happen. Mark Andrews
No, he
catches that
doesn't drop balls.
Mark Andrews catches that ball 9,999 times out of 10,000. It's unbelievable that he dropped that ball, but he dropped it. And once again, Lamar can't win because Mark Andrews dropped that ball. I think Lamar did everything he could do, everything he needed to do in that game. What's your takeaway on
I
Lamar?
mean, MVP candidate, like he insane player. He almost what did he rush for in the regular season? Like almost 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
It threw 30 to 40 touchdowns. Like
4 picks.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he
Unbelievable season.
threw more picks in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, or
Unbelievable.
something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, they Derrick Henry coming in gives that extra boost there and the extra help for sure.
I hope they
Yeah, I
get a
mean,
receiver for him. I hope they get another receiver for him in the offseason. They re-signed or extended, whatever you want to call it, the offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. So he'll be back, which is great.
right, like Henry, you got one more year of Henry like this with the and then
Give
you
him
know
a
what I mean. So
receiver.
like
Yeah.
Zay Flowers is a solid wide receiver.
But also,
Mark Andrews is what is he in his 30s? So it's like
no,
Isaiah.
he's in his 20s still, I think. I think he's still
Oh,
a
you're
peak.
right. He's 28. I looked at that the other day. 'Cause
Right.
somebody sent me some shit. Um, I mean, even so, you have Isaiah Likely, which is a comparable backup. But if you get
Devontae Adams.
if T Higgins is over there, you know what I mean? Like if that's something that's huge, like that's what puts you over the top.
Yeah, an Adams or a Higgins there would be really, really nice. The Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels is legit.
Pass.
What do you mean pass?
I
You
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
talk about
no comment?
him. I'm kidding.
Look, the Commanders are a very good team, but they also have a lot of flaws. They need offensive line help. They need defensive players in a big way. They need, their whole
Dude,
team.
how they got it was like look what a quarterback does.
Yeah, he's legit. He's the real deal. Terry McLaurin is the real deal. Those other guys like
Dan Snyder's pissed.
yeah, and rightfully so. Well, maybe not rightfully so. He should go suck on an egg. But the young Jaden Daniels elevates Zacchaeus. He elevates Diami Brown. You know what I mean? Like
Oh my
Zach
god, yeah.
Zach Ertz looked great this year. He was very surprising how good he looked.
He'll get a check.
Yeah, and the Commanders are up and coming, but they need to do a lot of work. They still need to add a lot of pieces. Like they definitely overachieved. As good as they were, and as much respect as I want to give them, they definitely overachieved. Like they
100%.
and it was like you said on the back of the quarterback for the most part, who just like would not. He just refused to lose. But they need
Keeping plays alive. Every second that a quarterback has is a second you're losing in stopping them. So it's like he was able to keep those plays, extend those drives.
yeah, and he's just making right decision after right decision.
And then
I mean,
also like they had the couple lucky ones, right? The Hail Mary, the
sure.
the two Hail Marys, right? The one to Tip and then the one to Terry McLaurin at the end. So they've had some luck, but then they've not to take away from what they've done, but like they do have a lot of work. I agree.
Yeah, they got to
They
add
were
some
like the Vikings the year the Giants beat the Vikings.
yeah, maybe. No, because these guys won 2 playoff games. They went to the NFC Championship game. They're different.
I mean, the regular season where they were like feisty. Their record was good, but the team wasn't as good as the record was.
I think Jaden Daniels makes it just so different. Just makes it so different. He's so fucking good. The Buffalo Bills, unfortunately, this is another one. What else could Josh Allen have done? Like that throw to Dalton Kincaid should have been caught. That's another one. Like now, Kincaid stinks. Like let's just say that he's terrible. He should have stepped forward this year. He was a huge disappointment. And then in his most crucial moment, when Josh Allen throws that ball, like running for his life. People were talking about, oh, why didn't he throw it to the guy who was behind him? Well, because he was behind him, and that's not the way the human body works. But he threw a ball that was down the field, perfectly catchable, and Kincaid just straight up dropped it. Like an NFL receiver needs to make that play. And who knows how the rest of the game plays out? Like who knows if what happens if Buffalo wins, whatever. But like that's the type of shit. Like championship teams make those catches, and fucking Dalton Kincaid dropped that ball.
Travis Kelce makes that catch.
Travis Kelce makes that catch, and if you asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would say Mark Andrews definitely makes that catch. But like,
I would still say Mark Andrews makes that
most
catch.
most NFL players, Diami Brown makes that catch, right? Fucking Olamide Zaccheaus makes that catch. Jahan Dotson makes that catch, but Dalton Kincaid didn't make that catch. And it's just like you got to feel bad for Bills fans. But the Bills and the Steelers, are entering into territory right now that remind me greatly of the Andy Reid Eagles. You're probably going to hear a lot about this. People are going to start talking about this narrative where Andy Reid was a great coach for the Eagles. You probably remember, or maybe you don't. I'm not sure.
I do.
He took them to 4 straight NFC championship games, only went to 1 Super Bowl, lost that Super Bowl because Donovan McNabb was throwing up in the huddle.
Winningest coach. He was in the best in both.
In Philly, right. But eventually, like, they kind of like, they bottomed out a little bit, but they eventually realized, like, look, this isn't going to work. You're a great coach, but we got to let you go. He went to Kansas City, and he finally did his thing. Now, I'm not saying that Sean McDermott or Mike Tomlin are going to go to a different city and do their thing. What I'm saying is maybe they are not the right guy. Like maybe they've taken the team as far as it can go.
They can take the team.
Right, as far as they can take it. And then maybe somebody else.
Right, yeah, that's been the talk for the past few weeks with Tomlin, just because it's like
right.
Fans are saying, "I was get him out," but like, how do you get a guy who's
he never loses
got to the playoffs every year? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a tough spot because the difference between him and Reid is that Reid bottomed out in Philly. Tomlin never bottomed out, hasn't bottomed out at least yet. The Bills haven't bottomed out, but Sean McDermott, he gets out coached in big spots constantly. I think both teams are going to start hearing that conversation. It's going to get louder and louder the longer these guys don't win.
But, I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree.
And then the final 2 teams in the playoffs right now, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's Kansas City versus Philly in the Super Bowl. Where have I heard that before? Same rematch of 2 years ago. Going to have the same result, maybe not the same score because that was an exciting game. But Kansas City's obviously going to win. Nothing anybody can do about it. The spread is Kansas City favored by 1.5 with a 49.5 point over under. Anthony.
Eagles money line over.
Nice.
Because I like fun.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough. I would probably, I will bet the Eagles on the money line, but for the purposes of picks, I'm going to lay the points with Kansas City, lay the 1.5, and I'll take the over, even though both of these are the 2 best defenses in the NFL. Like I still trust the offenses to score points. It could start slow, as most Super Bowls do, but I think we can get over that 50-point threshold.
I mean, that would be nice, at least, give us some excitement with the bullshit.
Yeah, it's not. That's the bummer, is that it's not an exciting matchup. Like everybody wanted. I think if it was Bills Philly, people would be very much happier.
I would be happier if it was any other.
But the Chiefs.
Chiefs, and honestly, I would have been happier if it was in the Eagles.
Well, yeah, as a Giants fan, you had no choice though, because it was either going to be the Eagles or the Commanders.
Yeah, I would choose in that scenario. I would have chose Eagles, because then you the Barkley thing, you could have a defense too. The whole like, oh, the Jaden Daniels, look, he took him to the Super Bowl. I mean, they took him to the NFC Championship, but like,
no, I disagree. There's nothing you could have done to get Jaden Daniels, but there is something you could have done to get Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm still on the side of like the right time to do it was when they signed Daniel Jones. Like that was your window. Like you should have signed him then to the deal. This past year,
That doesn't.
Like,
Yeah, but that still doesn't make it right. Just because they didn't do it
no,
when they were supposed to do it. And then
right.
this past year was
And
just
it,
a
but
formality.
like I'm okay with it. I personally rather it this way. The kid would have never, ever in a million years had a year he had this year on the Giants.
That's for sure. That is 100% for sure. He
And
never would have reached his full
he.
potential.
I mean, granted, he did go to the rival. He's one of the most humble football players there are. He's an amazing athlete, great human being. He deserved a chance at a Super Bowl. Never would have happened on the Giants unless some miracle happened in within the next 3 years, because it's going to start getting closer and closer. So like this was the best thing for him. Got paid to a great team. Now yet again, that offensive line is tremendous.
Yeah, one of the best in
You
the
know,
NFL.
so like yeah, I'm not mad about it. Like he would have 6 years with us. He if anything this year we would have won two more games with him,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
got us further away from a good pick.
Yeah, well, they did that anyway. They screwed that up anyway.
Yeah, every year that's what we do. It's a New York thing.
Speaking of a New York thing screwing up every year, the Jets hired Aaron Glenn. People seem to be happy.
Hey, yo, there's a mad lot of Aarons in New York.
Well, for now. For now. Aaron Glenn, I mean, by all accounts, good guy. He seems to like people. The players seem to love him. Former players love him. Current players seem to love him. So like he's got that going for him. It's a matter of who he brings in on offense and defense, and whether or not he can get the most out of players. I mean, we've seen guys like Rex Ryan come in and just be gregarious and be fun and get the most out of their players for a little while. So, I mean,
He's got 3 to 5.
if he can get the team moving in the right direction, more power to him. More power to him. I thought it was a fine hire, though. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, for like, you got to also counter this isn't your average job. A lot of guys don't want this job.
Yeah,
If you are a current head coach and you just got fired, or you're not looking for this job. You're looking for this job if you're a first time head coach.
pretty much.
So, because you're just trying to get in anywhere. So, this isn't the ideal spot. You're coming into this thing with a old quarterback and a lot of decisions to make with
For now.
a great young defense that's cheap for only so long because it's a bunch of younger guys. Like soon you're gonna have to start making some moves. A lot of these guys are gonna have to drop. There's gonna be paying to be done and blah 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 blah. But as long as he's got the right attitude, I think that's good. Like I think at least personality can go a long way. Maybe like you said, so I getting the best out of their players, and that's huge. You know, but you also got to make good decisions. So we'll see on those. He was a scout, and I think that when you start as a scout and you work your way up as a GM, as a head coach, that's great. You know what I mean? You get this.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
Parcells made him a scout first for that exact reason. So he comes from that Parcells school, maybe not the Parcells tree that you might like, but yeah, he gets the benefit of the doubt from me. A perfect hire was the Patriots bringing in Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean,
Vrabel,
whoever went Vrabel was the one.
yeah, Vrabel was one of the best coaches on the market. It was crazy that he didn't get a job last year, but I'm glad that he fell into the New England Patriots this year. It's just a nice fit. He brought in Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. He's getting the band back together. I think Vrabel's a good coach, and I think the Patriots are going to get better right away.
I mean, yeah, as they were a top team last year and this year, but they got their franchise quarterback, which is a huge part of the job.
Yep.
Plus, they have a good backup. I sneaky like Joe Milton. And then again, they're gonna need some weapons and they need some players, but they have early draft capital and an off season. So you got a brand. You coming in, you have a franchise quarterback potentially.
Yeah, I think he's good.
I think he's good, but like you can't really tell you right after year one. You can't really tell. It was like so. I think that I think they're in pretty good shape. I can't see them being at the bottom for too long.
A team that's been at the bottom for a while, and they might still be at the bottom, but they have their arrow pointing up, is the Raiders, because they hired Pete Carroll, the oldest head coach in the NFL, He'll be the oldest head coach in NFL history in week 1 when he coaches his first game. He'll be the oldest head coach to ever coach a game.
Like 84.
And then he's 73. And then every week after that,
I gave him 10 years.
yeah, he's 73. He'll be 70. He'll turn 74 during the season, and every week he'll set the new record for oldest head coach in the NFL.
Wasn't Coughlin? I think Coughlin was like 71.
He was old. But yeah, Pete Carroll's the oldest.
I mean, like, but yeah, like, how long is that your fix for? You know what I mean? Like,
probably 3 years, three or so years. He's a
so you're making this higher knowing that it's a quick flip. Like, where you know what I mean?
Look, if he coaches 3 to 5 years and he sets he's a guy who can change the franchise. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy who's going to come in and he's going to like straighten out that franchise.
He could die on the franchise.
He could, but he'll die doing what he loves, and that's the most important thing.
Like 3 to 5, he's 73. Man, I went 3 to 5.
He's going to set the tone, man. He's going to turn the culture around, and the Raiders Nation will be back. Watch him do it. Now, this guy,
Brock Bowers
is right. Liam Cohen. I don't know if you saw the videos. Liam Cohen, weird guy, real weird guy. He is the new Jags head coach. He like went behind the backs. He had a handshake deal with the Buccaneers for the new offensive for an offensive coordinator extension, and then like lied to them and told them he had a family emergency and went and interviewed with the Jaguars and got the job.
Like that.
And then he did a press conference and he said like he did Duval in the weirdest way possible. He's a weird fucking creepy dude.
Never knew what that guy's doing.
Yeah, weird guy. He came across as a weirdo this entire process. I mean, I wanted him to stay in Tampa for selfish reasons, Baker and Mike Evans.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know,
don't forget Godwin. As long as like
he's a free agent. Godwin's gone. He's a free agent. He's gone.
Oh, that's right. He's on the list.
Yeah.
That ankle scared me, bro.
Scared everybody.
I don't know if you're gonna make cuts like you once did.
Liam Cohen, I think, will be good for your boy T-Law, though. Should be good.
Well, yeah. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. as my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with that. With that.
Ben Johnson to the Bears in division.
I think I would have in divisions. Why? Like that was my only thought of like why I wasn't like all day Bills is where Bears is where he's gonna go. Which is like would he? You know, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's like the best job to take.
Yeah, he's got a quarterback who he believes in. He's got some offensive weapons on that team.
He's got like 11 weapons.
The receivers are good. The defense is pretty good and young.
You got one brand new one with very little miles, and an old one.
Yeah, you got everything. You got everything you need, and some tight ends.
And an RB.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what the Bears look like.
Let's see if he could turn it around, because they have the defense isn't terrible. So you got an off season and a draft with a team where we said probably before the season started that we thought the odds were pretty good that they were going to make it to the playoffs with this team after they drafted the way they did and whatnot in the off season. So let's see if he can do it, if he's worth all the fuss.
Yeah, they got to build the offensive line. That's what they got to do first and foremost. They got weapons. They got to build the offensive line and keep Caleb upright, because that dude got sacked like a crazy bitch. Speaking of a crazy bitch, Jerry Jones signs Brian Schottenheimer as his new head coach.
That was a crazy bitch. Good follow up. Yeah. Why not just run it back, huh?
That's what they're doing essentially. It's just Jerry wants to be the head coach now, so now Jerry's the head coach.
So this guy was like, listen, I'm going to make you the guy, but you're just not going to be the guy. You're going to stand out there, look like the guy, because I'm the guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Schottenheimer, man, like, I know him from his Jets days, and he really didn't wow anybody. He was supposed to be the next big thing, and he never really was. His offenses were super mid, like forever, and everywhere he went, his offenses were mid. So as long as he's not calling the plays, they have a chance. If he's calling plays on offense, forget about it.
Oh my God, Jerry Jones is like my meme for him now is, I'm the dude playing the dude disguised as the other dude.
Who do you think is gonna get the Saints job? I got names written down here. I got McCarthy written down, which is the popular one, everybody thinks. I got Flores. I got Cliff Kingsbury. And then I got maybe a coordinator who's still in the Super Bowl right now? Question mark?
I don't know because that's like
I don't think it's going to be a coordinator, but I wrote it down.
no. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna want to give a first time situation, but I mean McCarthy would be the safer guess.
Yeah.
I could see Flores, but I don't. I wouldn't. It's like yet again, who's gonna like? Do you want that job? If it's the only one left,
Right.
you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah, that's like if Mike McCarthy wants to coach again, like, that's the job. But you're in cap hell. It's like the worst salary cap situation in the NFL. They're
Yeah, like forever.
Yeah, they're really in bad shape.
You
So
know, like Derek Carr. Do you going to keep him? Like you have a question mark at QB. You have an old stud running back, banged up wide receiver, young wide receiver. And I think they have a
it's a
decent
mess.
draft pick, but it's not all about just the draft.
No, it is not. No, it is not. So
That's
that's all the
wild.
those are all the coaching things. The only
Oh,
other
do you want to talk? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know what else you have, but we could talk about other things that are related.
Such as
Top free agents, but maybe that was something you were planning on later.
we could talk about that later. Yeah, let's talk about that later because I think there's probably going to be guys that are going to be cuts and become free agents and all that other stuff. So let's wait a little while for that. I was actually saying that um I brought a quiz, a Super Bowl quiz, but since it's just you, I was going to be against you against John. But since it's
Uh,
just you, I don't know if you want to do the quiz. Do you want to do the
uh,
quiz?
do you want to save it so that I can be against somebody?
Well, John can't do the pod next week. Maybe me, you, and Danny can do it, and I'll quiz you guys.
Hey, at least like have it for when it's somebody besides me. I don't want it to go to waste.
Sounds good. All right, that works. All right. Well, then that wraps it up. We got everything we needed to get.
Wrap it.
52.5%. 52.5%. We're going to get it up to 55, maybe even 57%. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, if one of us can get in that like 55 to 60 mark, that's nice.
That would be really nice. Yeah. But yeah, that might be next season though, where it's always Sunday.